Good evening. Welcome to episode 5 of FPL The Onion. I am Ash and Nick is pouring a beer.
Hello, Mr. Schlee. I'm trying to pour the perfect beer. Have I tilted it too late? Let's have a look.
Pressure is on. And is that a frosted glass as well?
It is a frosted glass.
Fantastic.
Not a bad effort. Can you see that?
That is looking delicious. Cheers to the water.
Cheers. Cheers to you.
How are you today? In a busy one, it sounds like.
Oh, I am shattered. I'm going to try and bring some energy, but I'm not feeling very high energy at the moment. And we were supposed to have our first guest on the pod, being our good friend Mr. Alistair McMillan, but he's not feeling very well. So we wish him well, and maybe we'll have him on next week.
Yeah. Get well soon now, and we'll have him and maybe some other guests soon. But we'll give this a go, just the two of us, and we can spend more time looking at midfield permutations, which is the topic I need your help with today.
I'm sure Ali would have had a lot to say on that, I think. But we were hoping to have Ali on because obviously the Arsenal game is going on now, and Ali's an Arsenal fan, or he certainly used to be, but now he's massive into his lower league football and Stockport County. Hopefully we can chat to him about that when he's on next. But I was delighted to see that the Arsenal clean sheet has gone.
And I am pretty frustrated by that as a Ramsdale and a Nori owner. Although, have you seen in the last 5 minutes, Semedo's got taken off and Johnny is on. So that's a long term, and maybe Johnny will be at right back and Nori will be a bit more assured.
Wow.
Unless Marcel comes in, of course. But apparently he went off he got injured in 59-30 minute, and then he rolled off the pitch and came on and then left at something like 60-15, but apparently he has got the clean sheet for anyone that's got Semedo.
Wow.
Which is
amazing.
None of us, because as usual it's just us, but we'll get there, Nick. We'll get there.
We will. We were saying, because I think we were going to try and stream this, but we still haven't got that working. But how will it feel when we get our first live viewer? We can actually talk to someone else other than the other person. So
yeah, exactly. We will give that a go next week. I did try, but that didn't go very well earlier, so not sure what's happened. Right, this needs a bit of discussion. You have had an absolute flyer. 146 points as of last night. Saiss and Jimenez to play. So what do you want to say about that?
Yeah, it's continuing to go really well. I think I just checked before we started streaming, and even without a Saiss clean sheet, which I've obviously just jinxed because he'll probably lose it soon. I'm just back inside the top 1K again. I think I'm at 996 after auto subs, which would be really nice. Again, it's just that thing of I'm kind of making the decision that I hope, or the decisions that I hope are kind of the obvious ones, or not trying to do anything too fancy, or trying to be too differential and just be really consistent. But I'm just not being hurt by the players that I don't have again. Obviously, you start drilling into things like Spurs. I didn't have any Kane or Son or anything like that, and obviously I didn't expect them to do what they did against City. But then even last night, I expected them to do more against Burnley, and they didn't. Obviously the moves this week, I took the -8 to let me see if I can even remember this. So Ronaldo to Weghorst, obviously that went really well. Martinelli to Salah, obviously I think Martinelli straight back in the team tonight, but hasn't done anything yet, and obviously didn't have the double. Salah obviously brought him into triple captain and we know how that went. It was amazing last night. I did notice something really interesting. I can't remember whether I messaged you about this, Schlee, but Salah getting his first goal and then I think his assist kind of bumped me up like 300 places. I think I was 1300 rank at the start of the night last night. But then when he got his second goal on live FPL, it didn't make any difference to my rank. And so I just wonder whether I'm now getting to the numbers game where everyone ahead of me, or who was close enough for me to catch with Salah going nuts, also had Salah triple captain. I don't know what was going on. I think I did message you, and I think you said maybe the site was broken, but I don't think it was.
No, you did mention. Yeah, you did message me, and I came up with a theory that doesn't sound right. That can't be right. And then you pretty bluntly replied with a classic message that starts with no comma, and then you went off on your point that was no, I'm right. I must be only in a sort of triple captain arena where no one above has got triple captain, and then I, within 30 seconds, have proven that the world number 4 had not triple captain Salah. So I think
No. But that's my point. That's my point. As in, I'm not going to catch the world number 4. But my thinking was that, maybe it bumped me up a few places, but I just wonder if at that level there are so many people who had triple captain Salah.
Yeah, you'd bump them out the way.
That I was only going to be bumping out the way the people who hadn't, and so maybe there weren't that many of them left who were close enough for me to jump them. I mean, obviously, if he'd kept on scoring, if he'd scored the points that Mane did in the second half, then maybe I would have jumped a few more. But I was expecting to see me kind of well within the top 1K, and he just stopped. I stopped rising basically. It was just really interesting. So anyway, so Salah in was obviously the obvious move, and I'm glad it paid off like it did. Wildcarders obviously couldn't triple captain, although I've seen some unbelievable bench boosts and wildcards that have scored huge anyway. And I think things like the Van Dijk goal at the end would have really helped with that, and Robertson's assist, etc. What else did I do? I brought Seiss in for Lowton, so that kind of solved the problem for me. I didn't expect it to pay off big, and I don't think it will, but it's better than still having Lowton, and I would have otherwise played Laporte. He didn't punish me on the bench. And what was the other move? Oh, Jimenez in for Watkins, and obviously Watkins was benched. Jimenez got the assist in the first game, so he's kind of just about covered it. So that's fine too. And then obviously the only kind of slight regret, and even with last night getting hundreds of points, I was still just focusing on this was, and I haven't just used that as a segue, but obviously FPL Focal's got some mega amount of points on his bench that you pointed out to me tonight, Shlee. Maybe we have a look at that at some point. But the other thing that there's slight regret was Gallagher just in third bench, but I was always choosing between Gallagher and Ramsey or Gallagher and Bowen, and I just thought, Gallagher's fixture was away to Watford, and obviously Ramsey for Villa, his haul's been more recent, and he was at home to Watford, but unfortunately Gallagher was the one that got the big haul. So
yeah, can't be too annoyed about that. I mean, that's the same week. So did you have 2 free transfers? You made 4 moves.
Yeah, two free.
Right.
2 free for the -8. So the -8 is definitely, I think it's probably, with Salah triple captain, probably the biggest payoff of hits I've probably ever had in the history of playing FPL. So yeah, feels pretty good at the moment. So yeah, back in the top 1K, and I think I know what I'm doing for 27. But yeah, let's have a look at your team.
Okay. I thought I had a point on that before we moved on. Yeah, Gallagher, I just watched the highlights actually just now. He was looking amazing, like just kept popping up in the box so much, and I don't know whether it was Watford being awful, but I mean that result, there's quite a few swings in there where a team beats someone who the week before had beaten someone else, and you kind of like, what's the outlier here? A bit like Spurs, like what's going to happen to them next week? Are Leeds maybe even going to beat them? Is it that Leeds are awful or Spurs are going to be amazing? Tough one, but yeah, that Gallagher is pretty unlucky.
That Gallagher goal, the touch. I mean, obviously the defender misses it, but he's just one of those guys. He just seems like he's got so much time, doesn't he? And I think I was very, very lucky because I've hardly watched that much football this season. But and I was actually with you this day. Do you remember the day he scored the 2 goals in game week 4?
Oh, you were with me?
Yeah. That was the day we went to the football.
Oh, right, okay. I was just thinking of his Cruyff turn in the box. I thought we weren't together, but you were absolutely banging on about it on WhatsApp, saying, "Have you seen that Cruyff turn and that finish? It was amazing."
Oh, I thought we were. I thought that was the day that I thought we were in the bar and we saw him score those goals in the bar.
Oh no, I didn't think it was it game week 4. I thought it was a bit later. Maybe,
was it?
Maybe that's a different game week. But yeah, anyway, that shows his instinct in the box his touch is amazing. He's sort of on my radar. I'm not sure he's right, but the fact he's doing so well, he's a tempter for sure.
Yeah, and from a non-FPL perspective, I was chatting to somebody today who was just saying it'd be really interesting to see what happens in the summer, because it's probably not that likely that he goes back to Chelsea and kind of breaks into the team there. Although I guess Mount did, but kind of where he might end up. So
I just remember the thing I was going to say. I saw on Twitter as well someone giving an example of like the perfect hokey cokey of big hitters over the last 4 weeks. I think they 4 weeks ago had De Bruyne, captained him, and then moved to, the perfect set of players. Then it was Fernandez, say, who got a haul, then to Kane, and then back to Salah. And they said there was some like 120 points up or something on those 4 moves, given the captaincy and the triples. So I've also got a bit of a hokey cokey in my head as well. But it just, you've got, the perfect big hitters there, ditching Ronaldo at a good time. You only got 1, didn't he, compared to Fernandez's 12, right?
Yeah.
It's worked out very well.
Yeah, and I even, I didn't have Kane, but I was thinking the other day, I was kind of looking back at my last few game weeks, and obviously I brought De Bruyne in on wildcard, captained him for his 2 pretty decent scores, I think kind of 11 and then 8 or something like that, and then went to Bruno hauled in the double, and then obviously brought Salah in. So I feel like I'm kind of, as I keep saying, everything's coming up Millhouse at the moment. I'm sure it'll stop soon, but yeah, we'll get to transfer plans a bit later.
Nice. Okay, let's do this pretty quick. Yeah, what's going on here? So Aït-Nouri and Ramsey Lisa are both playing tonight. I was pretty worried that Aït-Nouri was going to get rotated and might still be, but if in a double he's going to play 2, that's all I can ask for. And so far, might be getting a jammy clean sheet. That'd be quite good. Edouard was super annoying, although at least he didn't block any bench points coming off, and so far Martinelli hasn't done anything. The fact Martinelli has played is interesting. Tonight actually does affect my transfer plans quite a bit, depending on if Aït-Nouri played and how well, and Martinelli the same.
Yeah, Smith Rowe's not even in the squad, is he?
I saw that.
Looked out for that.
That's interesting. But so, it doesn't really look like a team that was wildcarded 3 or 4 weeks ago, because, the 2 punts I did have on it, to be fair, and I said at the time, was Edouard and Harrison, and they look real outliers and need to go in some form. Well, I've already made a transfer. Edouard's gone for Weghorst last night, thinking
Weghorst
was going to rise. Yeah, just went for it. Obviously, I wish Harrison was Rafinha now. I couldn't afford Rafinha, so maybe I should have moved the money around a bit. Lack of City attack's a bit worrying, and although Kane did great, I really regret not going for Son, because he's a couple of points up since wildcard and a lot cheaper, and I could have really done with that money. So I am really in a dilemma about what to do next week, because I've got 4 Liverpool and Arsenal, so I maybe need to get rid of 1, or maybe accept just playing with 10. Yeah, I've got quite a few options.
Yeah, talk me through the emotions of Kane, because obviously you brought him in on the wild card. He's he hasn't really done much. I think it was Southampton, then Wolves, and people expected him. Did you captain him against Southampton?
No. What was that? Sorry, last week or the week before?
I think that was the week before, because I think the other game was Wolves, wasn't it?
No, so that's when I wildcarded, and I would have captained Jota. That's when he got the 16. But yeah, Gianni, for example, did wildcard the same week, and he captained Kane for 2.
Right.
Yeah. So I think I remember, Sinji, we were chatting at the weekend, weren't we? That when Kane scored the 2 against City, and one disallowed, I was actually pretty. I was a bit numb to it. That I don't. Yeah. It's one of those disallowed goal things, isn't it? You just think you're going to get something, and it doesn't happen. But yeah, it's great. But then expecting something last night from Burnley, and nothing came of it. So
yeah,
it's annoying. And I just look at him and think I could do so much with that money if I could move it. And it's really annoying, because so many times said midfield will score the most points. That's where the money should be. Wildcarded, partly to get rid of Ronaldo, because I wanted to move that money to Salah, and then went with Kane. It was just his numbers were through the roof at the time, like his XG and XA on the graph for attackers was the best. So I thought that's a great differential. Good fixtures coming up. He's got doubles. So I think I'm probably going to have to keep him now until 30, well, 29, and then switch. But we'll see. But this week I really wish I had Son.
But you would, when you say switch, you mean just switch down to a cheaper forward, or switch to a Vardy for 30?
Yeah, maybe a Vardy or something if he's fit and firing, because that fixture looks quite good. Or maybe go quite down a lot. I'm not sure what. I probably might have Jimenez by then, but probably not for Kane. But I think I'll go down and take the money out of attack.
Yeah, the worrying thing about Spurs, because that my transfer plan is possibly a bit of hokey cokey in terms of Salah to Son, and then don't show anyone your password, Ashley.
That's right. No, I don't think they can see that. I was just looking at the fixtures. Check I got the game week right. Yeah, go on.
Cool.
Salah to Son.
But Salah to Son, because obviously Salah doesn't have a fixture, and I may lose a 0.1 on him, but I think I can do that. But obviously have Son for the Leeds game, because Leeds defense is absolutely horrendous at the moment, and then go back to Salah from Bruno when Bruno's fixtures turn back. But my concern with Spurs is just that they're so so hit and miss. And I think the Man City game now looks like an outlier, probably just because, and I remember United getting some results like this under Solskjaer against some of the big teams, where they want, because they're such a counter-attacking team, they want the other team to dominate possession and they want the other team to come on, and that's obviously what City do. So it was perfect for Spurs. And obviously, I think Leeds probably is the perfect fixture for them, because Burnley and Wolves and Southampton don't play like that. Whereas I think Leeds will still attack, because Bielsa just seems so kind of almost to the point of madness, so resolute on playing the way that they're going to play. But yeah, it's just, my concern is I was going to get Son in and obviously then go from Bruno back to Salah so that I can keep Son. But I'm so worried about Spurs being as dysfunctional as they are. And Conte's comments were really, really worrying last night, where it almost sounds like he's daring the board, or he wants the board to sack him.
Yeah.
And so you just wonder, I mean, Andy, let's talk FPL. Andy's been talking about how, Son, no matter what happens, who's the manager, whatever else, Son's just always going to score points. But, they just followed that City up, that amazing result, and that amazing, the fans all being up and the club having a lift, with such a disappointing result last night that, you could bring Son in and he doesn't do anything for Leeds. And then you think, actually, I've got a player for the next few weeks who, the fixtures are good, but he's in a dysfunctional team and the manager's not happy and everything else. So just wondering what you thought about that.
I think it's harder for me because I've got Kane.
Yeah.
So I think doubling up is more of a risk for exactly that reason. I still think he's the best captain or vice captain. Is he worth a -4 for me? I'm not quite sure. And it would be a trickier hokey cokey. Like, if you can do it and not lose, well, you would be losing Salah, but you're easily getting him back in. So I think that's okay.
Yeah. But just about generally about, are you worried about Spurs, or do you think they'll be fine, or just looking to the next fixture against Leeds and thinking, because it does, Leeds defense is so bad and they're not going to sit back because they don't know how to. And obviously, they've got some pretty serious injuries to, their DMs and centre backs and everything else. So it does look like an amazing fixture for Spurs, doesn't it?
Yeah, I am worried about Spurs. Yeah, inconsistency, but then their fixtures are really good. The fixture is perfect for midfield runners. Son's obviously amazing at that. Cheaper than Kane. Double coming up. I think it seems a pretty good fit, but I'm still really on the fence about it.
And then after that, they've got, is it Everton? They've got after that. Again, you couldn't really ask for a better fixture at the moment.
Yeah, let's come to that in a moment. Arsenal have scored.
Have they? That's not good news.
Nori's been taken off. I am going to be annoyed. That is not good news, is it?
No, that's
Pepe
not good news.
and then Nketiah assist. That is not good for anybody. Martinelli got taken off in the 71st minute, but Nori is still on. Damn.
That's a shame for the clean sheet, but again, in terms of who got that goal, I mean, Pepe and Nketiah have probably got pretty low ownerships, haven't they?
Yeah,
so that's
going to be
pretty good for me.
People. Yeah,
pretty terrible for wildcarders.
Okay, let's move on. Just a couple of slides on bits that sort of interest me. I think this is quite good just to see, compared to last week, the change. The Salah change just massively interested me, from 42% to 266 and 28 points. Just crazy change.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw someone that triple captained Trent. He or she must have had a bad week as well, but they said they went down from 70k overall rank to something like 400k having triple captain Trent. They must have had Salah, but I guess only getting one of his points is pretty
overall rank drop from 70 down to 400k.
Yeah,
that's insane.
I mean, they lost 56 points in one person last night, but that's pretty brutal, isn't it? Even with a 6.
We didn't talk about that when we were looking at our teams, but I did see some people triple captaining Trent, and I saw some people on Twitter kind of boasting about it, and other people kind of then sharing their tweets, that they were doing that, and it just, what an enormous swing. I mean, Trent got 6 points, and an absolutely mega swing on that.
Yeah, I heard some people say 5 or 6 points last night and they would have been happy. So I mean, yeah, you text as soon as that went in the penalty, and the other one was probably pretty lucky. But yeah, 18 is just mad. A bit like Fernandes when that swing when it was, what was it, 22 against the 1 for Ronaldo, or the 3 in that double 5-6 weeks ago. That was pretty brutal. I was on the wrong side of that. Amazing for the captains, triple captains. Sorry.
I can't remember who did I captain Ronaldo that week? I can't remember. I know I didn't have Bruno when he went huge.
Oh, did you not? Okay.
No, I didn't have that.
I mean, it's kind of a high scoring week. There's a few 10s in here, but Bowen and Cancelo, there was obviously 1s. I mean, Son's ownership as well is worrying me a bit. I mean, that's not super high, but he's the highest midfielder that I'm tempted to bring in. Saka would be good, but obviously no fixture this week. Rafinha, I've got Harrison and that Spurs game. Probably they're not going to do great on that one. Coutinho for next week, so it is really tough. I've got lots of options of what to do with midfielders.
Yeah, just a note to say, Saka got a yellow card, didn't he, in the first half? So that was pretty nice for non-owners.
Tonight or
tonight? Yeah, just tonight.
Right.
Dropping his points a little bit, but
yeah.
We're probably setting some sort of record here because I don't think we've mentioned free hit yet, even though that's what everybody is talking about for 27. There is a very, very, very clear template that's emerged on the free hit. In fact, I've seen quite a few different people on Twitter kind of taking the mickey, saying, I think is it FPL Pig? Do you know FPL Pig, the guy who does the game week songs?
Don't know him, but I know him.
Yeah, he seems like a funny guy, and he put a thing on saying that he'd asked loads of different content creators, so he named a few different kind of other Twitter accounts that he always interacts with, and he just said, I've asked them what their ideal free hit team is, and he just posted the same screenshot of the same team over and over again, but just had I think it must have been pretend quotes from every person as to why they'd chosen different players, but they sounded like they were trying to be differential, but he just kept posting the same free hit team,
right?
Which is pretty funny. But I'm not amazingly scared of not having the free hit template team this week. It could do amazingly well, but I have got some cover on it. I've got 2 City defenders. I think the free hit team's got 2 City attackers generally, or the template has. I've got Weghorst, so I'm going to captain him, which I think everybody in the game who's got him is going to captain him. Everybody who free hits, I think, is going to probably captain him.
I don't know. No, I'm not sure on that bit. I agree with everything else. I know Late Riser. Well, his latest team tonight, which he said he was going to sleep on, he's got Son captain.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing, and we can talk about captains, or maybe this is the right time to talk about captains. But who are you thinking of captaining Kane then?
No, I think if I stick with my current transfer, which was Edouard to Weghorst, I'll probably captain Weghorst. But if I did do Salah to Son, I'd be tempted to captain Son.
Right. And that is probably actually the one thing that does scare me about this week, and it's not free hit versus non. It's picking the captain, because obviously I think there are some good options. I think Bruno is a good option as well. I think there could be some pretty massive swings in whether you get the captaincy pick right this week.
Yeah, because Weghorst's not even on this list, as he's not. It's 4.5% in the whole game, so maybe 20% in the. Well, no, it wouldn't be 20. Less than 18 in the top 10k, isn't he? Because he's not on here. And I think on Fantasy Football Scout website, he's the highest captain on the poll. So most people are thinking that, and I think he's top of the Rate My Team as well. But I'm just not sure. It's Burnley. It's a fairly cheap striker. Has he really got the pedigree to do it? Yeah, he's obviously had a great first week, but I was kind of, as soon as that goal went in last night for Burnley, I just thought it was going to be Weghorst. So, but he's got 1 and 2 in the Bundesliga. He's against the. I did see someone say, he's against the 2 defenses that concede the most headers, and he's 6'6", as if that means he's brilliant at heading. He might be pretty good, but it's probably the defenders that might be getting on them as well. So yeah, I'm really not sure.
The thing is though, the way it's fallen. I mean, if he'd had the double he had this week, obviously with Spurs in there, you would have thought I don't think there's a huge amount in that, but I like the look of that double for Burnley next week.
Right. For attacking or defence,
yeah,
or both?
Well, yeah, for attacking, I don't fancy it for defence, to be honest. I think they'll concede in both games. But I do actually like the idea of Weghorst in those games. I think if I do bring Son in for Salah, it will be quite a tough decision. But I just think Conte's comments last night might swing it to Weghorst, because Burnley are in a really good moment. They've had, three wins on the bounce now. And so I'm really, it was Bright. Is it 3 on the bounce?
Brighton, they beat 3-0. Yeah, Spurs last night 1-0. Can't remember before that.
I can't remember before that either. But it's just that they're just in very, very different moments, aren't they? The teams, and so that's probably what will lean me towards Weghorst. But I think the fact that we're weighing it up just shows that, obviously if Son had a double and Burnley have a double, I think you'd go for Son. But I think the double's going to swing it.
Well, that you didn't really say a short-term thing there, but I think the short-term view is quite important, where you were saying, is it worth getting Son given the uncertainty of Spurs and the fact that, anything could happen in a few weeks. But you said that Leeds fixture is so strong that I'm and it's possibly going to be a short-term punt for me. I'm almost not thinking 3 or 4 game weeks away. And there's been so many swings. I mean, your transfer's been a classic example. You've done it for that week. There's so many doubles and stuff. We are quite short-term viewing at the moment, and so many chips flying around. So I think I have got short term in my head and not too worried what might happen in 30. I mean, I've kind of almost ripped up plans of thinking about 30, and I have fallen into this trap in previous seasons where you see a blank 6 or 7 game weeks away, and I did it with a wild card. You plan for it, and it's kind of bitten me on the ass a bit, and I should have almost ignored it and thought, worst case, I need a free hit in it, or have 5 players in it. So I'm trying to get that in my head a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not lining up transfers just because the other potential transfer I was looking at, which is probably the very sensible transfer, is just João Pedro to Broja, and I think that he will have the game in. I think he probably will have the game in 30, or there's certainly a good chance that he will.
I think it's pretty much 50-50, isn't it, according to what I saw on Ben Crellin.
Yeah. So again, I guess if he had the guaranteed fixture, that probably is an even more sensible decision. But I just, as you say, it still feels a way off, even though we've only got kind of three free transfers until then.
Yeah. Did you see The Wire this week?
I don't think I have, actually.
It's quite funny when you were saying the template team for the free hit team, because they got to that bit where they were sharing their thoughts on it, and then Zoff said something like, so here's the template team that I pretty much gathered from Twitter from different people, and he read it out. And then Late Riser said, so how does that differ from your team, Zoff? And Zoff said, no, that's my team. So he's, I think, probably, independently come up with the same team that pretty much everyone has got. But it is pretty amazing that in a week where there's so much variety, most people are doing the same thing.
Did they have a good chuckle about it? Because it cracks me up when they're all laughing. They're funny.
They were really acknowledging the fact that they do all play it in a different way. And I think later I was just saying his punt, the only punt you can sort of get this week is sort of 4th and 5th midfielder territory, because everything else is pretty set. But he's looking at sort of James Ward-Prowse versus Rafinha kind of territory to try and make a bit of gains. So it was quite good. I haven't listened to it all.
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting this weekend, because it'll be a little bit like we've just had now with this double, where you've got the teams that have wildcarded versus the triple captainers versus the bench boosters, etc. And it'll be the same this weekend, where it'll be like free hitters against everybody else kind of thing. So I think it'll be quite funny.
Such a volatile time, yeah. I occasionally update this every sort of 4 or 5 weeks. When I'm doing some planning and stuff, I thought it's quite interesting. I almost made a mistake on the strikers on the left, so XG versus XA, and I had it as a table, and I was like, I could see Kane was at the top, and then I couldn't see him, and it's because I didn't have the scale right, and it just shows how far ahead Kane is in terms of his XG.
Oh, I see. This is the part of the pod where we bring up graphics that show that our picks in our own team are off the scale, literally off the scale.
Well, this is what made me pick Kane in the wildcard a few weeks ago, because I was like, that is insane. He's back. He's absolutely smashing it. And it's gone okay in 1 game week of the 2 this week. But I thought it was quite interesting. That, I mean, selling Kane this week had come through my head, but that made me think no chance. I don't think he's going to do great against Leeds, but he might get maybe a couple of assists. I can imagine him assisting Son or Kulusevski a couple of times. Just he's going to get it on ball in the number 10 role, and then just be the creative force, and Son's going to be the runner.
I think you need to edit this just to have a little string that's coming down from that little Kane bubble and then just a big picture of Conte's face just hanging from it.
Right, next week.
Just pulling him
pretty
down.
Strange, wasn't it? The fact he had like the wind blowing in his face as well in front of the sponsor balls last night. It was really sort of eerie interview, wasn't it?
Do you know what? It's funny. It's funny you should mention that, because I noticed that as well, and it was almost like he'd driven out to some desolate wasteland to do his interview. They'd stuck the kind of sponsorship board up behind him, and yet he was still just he had the wind blowing in his hair, and everything was turning to dust around him, and
it was a bit surreal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this is interesting as well, like the fact that midfielders, they're more creative than the strikers. There's loads more players over here and the high XA, which is pretty cool. But this did not help me on the right in terms of who I was going to pick. Like Foden, I think there's a risk maybe he isn't going to play with the nightclub stuff going on, and Pep maybe blaming him or someone for the defeat and changing stuff. But I mean, that suggests he would be one of the best options.
I don't know who the lady was in that video, but I think somebody said it may have been his mum. The woman who gets punched. I think it might be his mum, which is just awful. But yeah, it's horrible. That video is horrible. I don't think that he'll be out of the team for that. I expect him to play that game. I think he'll be he's been in the centre, hasn't he? Kind of false 9 role the last few games. I think he'll just carry on there.
Yeah, probably. I heard that Jesus is back in training.
Is he? He's been playing on the right, hasn't he? Even when he was back, and kind of said he prefers playing on the right wing.
Yeah, my mind sort of drifted more to free hitters, and everyone's going Mahrez or Sterling, and Sterling, sorry. So it might affect things. I don't know. That doesn't scream out though as quite as settled as I'd like, and I can't afford Mahrez or Sterling, so it'd be Foden or Bernardo Silva or Gundogan, which is too risky, I think.
But as in, you are thinking of bringing them in?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was definitely thinking, because Jota is 8 mil and Foden's 7.9, that'd be a good switch. A City, more maybe a cover, is an option.
Yeah.
I'll come to that in a bit.
How many City have you got?
Laporte and Cancelo, same.
Okay, fine. And you feel like you need the third one?
Not strongly, but I am in a bit of a position of I mean, it would be for -4, so I could easily save, but I feel because I would be taking a hit for taking out a 0 pointer, because it would probably be Jota, the gains are easier to make.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think it'd be so. I guess that's that thing with Kane in your team, isn't it? That you're not thinking about how to get Son, so you're then thinking, how can I get another mid that really makes a difference here? And if you could get to Sterling easily, I just feel like Sterling could go off in this game, and he's been playing much better. He's looked like he's got more confidence, because at the start of the season, or kind of towards, I think it was the start of the season, may even been the end of last, but it just wasn't a player that we could really trust anymore. And yet now he just seems to be coming back into having a good time of it.
I remember you having him late end of one season, like must have been game week 30, 31. I think it was against Brighton. He scored a brace away, and I think I just bad memories of you texting me probably instantly when the goal went in, saying this is it, this is happening, I'm a genius or something. It's another one of your faves.
Well, as I again finished another 50,000 places below you that season. I've had some good times with Sterling, because there are times where I think it was the seasons where they had Sane on the other side, and he just kept arriving at the back post. I can't remember how many goals he got that season, but he just seemed to get loads. He was great.
Yeah, people have been saying that a lot this week. It's very true. Yeah, he just wants to get under the crossbar, doesn't he, and just get the tap-ins. He's so rapid to get to the back post. So you'd go Sterling over Son if you could have a choice.
Do you know what? This is the reason why I love doing this with you, because I hadn't even thought of that until that moment, and yet now I'm like, maybe that's the better move, is just to bring Sterling in, because I can afford it, because I'm going from Salah down. I can basically afford any player in the game as long as I can get from Bruno, back to Salah. And just because of Spurs, and because Son it's just that Leeds fixture, it's so attractive. But and I could bring Sterling in and then he doesn't even start. That's the risk, isn't it? Whereas at least with Son, he's going to play. Unless Conte is literally just doing anything he can to get sacked, and he just plays the youth team or something. But I don't know. I had not even thought of getting Sterling in instead, but maybe I need to consider that.
Everton away, it's tricky, isn't it? Like Lampard's new in there. They did well in the cup, and then do they have a win in the league? But then since then, there's 2 defeats. It's mixed again, isn't it? It's hard to read that. But Pep for sure was going to be pissed and go for it.
I was listening to, I think it was Blackbox, where Az was saying that 2 things. Whenever City lose a game, which obviously happens rarely, but whenever they lose a game, they change the team like 40% or 50% of players or something.
Yeah.
But then also there's always a reaction, so they generally smash somebody in the game after. Did Sterling play 90 minutes against Spurs?
It's not easy to find on here. Can have a quick
just
look.
checking when you're looking there. Can everybody see that?
I can jump to that. Yeah.
Okay, you're there. Yeah. It's just because I can see when you're looking at that, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Did Sterling play 90? So this is
interesting.
good.
I never used that search bar. I'd always go to City. There you go. It's much faster.
What would you do? Go to City?
I'd just go to City
at the top
and then
in the drop down. Okay.
Just in the drop down.
Either way, this is showing up. My laptop is screaming.
Yeah.
But that was, when did they play? They've had a whole week rest, haven't they? So you're not worried on that, surely?
No, it's not that I'm worried about it. It's just whether, because I think...
no, he didn't. Sorry, 67.
67. But even that's quite worrying that he's pulled him off. Because at what time... Because I guess they equalised very late on, so they must have been losing when he took him off, and then obviously they got back to 2-2. This is the issue. This is the issue with not being able to see the games, because obviously if you'd watched the game, you'd know with your kind of player barometer whether who was doing well and who was doing badly. And obviously if somebody's having a really bad game, then they get taken off and then they lose. Maybe he's the one player who gets punished. I think it's too risky. Although I feel like Sterling could go bananas if he plays, Son is a much safer pick, and it'd be super annoying to use a transfer on a player that then doesn't play. So
Arsenal 1-2-1. Lacazette
got
an assist. Own goal, Salah. Oh, I just saw the fact there was 2 assists, and I was like, no, someone's got an own goal. Please, not Aït-Nouri.
Wow.
And
Jimenez yellow card. That's painful as well. That game, other than the Lacazette assist, that is pretty painful for everybody, isn't it?
Apart from you.
Well, it's pretty painful for me, isn't it? I mean, I had
Jimenez and Saiss. Okay.
Jimenez and Saiss. Yeah, so it's not great. I mean, obviously Saiss is going to lose a point for conceding 2 goals. Jimenez loses a point for the yellow card, so it's not great. And the Lacazette assists, because he is relatively highly owned this week.
He's got quite a few assists recently. I can't remember. He seems to be sort of a very 5-pointy player.
Yeah, he's not amazingly explosive. I had him for that. I had him for his 11 in game week 19. I think on a free hit. It's pretty nice.
Right, just a bit conscious of time. 40 minutes. We'll probably be hopefully talking about my team for at least an hour. So
no worries. Yeah, so that Lacazette assist, and obviously Saiss and Jimenez has dropped me by like 150 places. So I'm now 1,148 outside the top 1K. So
disaster then.
Disaster. It's been a terrible game week. No, it's all good. It's all good.
I thought this was quite interesting. Have you seen something like this before? Double-digit returns, like Blackbox did it last year, but it's quite a nice graphic.
So what? Oh, it's shown by team. Oh, nice.
Yeah, teams conceded. So Leeds, for example, this is why I'm annoyed I've got Kane. They have conceded. They've never played a team where the goalkeeper has got 10 plus points because there's no red. But they've done it with a defender quite a few times. So Cancelo goes off against them or something, and then lots of times with midfielders, i.e. Son alert, and then never for a striker, i.e. why have I got Kane? So that's quite interesting.
I love this. This is great.
But this was only up to game week 21.
Did you put this together?
No, this is off Twitter. Can't remember who it is, I'm afraid, but it was quite a while ago. So yeah, Norwich, Newcastle, they're the ones conceding the big points to people.
So you're not even going to give credit to the person who created the chart.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't done that with. I know that's me. Live FPL. Sorry, that's definitely Ragaboli, isn't it? But this one I can't remember, I'm afraid.
That is very cool though. Look at Norwich down the bottom; they're getting absolutely smashed. And is that if this is a while ago, obviously it's Newcastle before they've spent a load of money.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of all I wanted to say on that.
Very cool. But does that mean that you're worried again about Kane against Leeds because you're thinking
a bit? Yeah, I've got the captain on Weghorst at the moment and not Kane. But if I bought Son in, I think that would switch. Yeah, Kane's on pens. He could get something.
But you're not going to bring Son in because you've already got one Spurs, or?
I'm really torn. I really don't know what to do with the other one. Right, we'll come to that in a mo. Ticker, that's here, so we'll probably refer back to it. I've updated the colours for sure of the teams. Updated the sort of watch list I've got on the side with different players. Yeah, we can come back to that. No double fixture announcement, although Leicester winning in the UEFA. Which one are they in? Conference League or the other one?
Yeah, the Europa Conference League, yeah.
Them winning apparently makes the Chelsea rearrangement more likely, I think. I don't know if it's Arsenal or Norwich, but I think people are talking about that maybe dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, wasn't there supposed to be an announcement? Was it yesterday or today or something?
I just think it's ASAP, but I think
they're waiting for the Leicester result.
Planet FPL was saying, yeah, they need to wait for the Leicester game, so you would expect it tomorrow. And then I just put the scout one up here as well, in case you need to refer to it.
I think if that Norwich game, if Chelsea's double is Norwich and not Arsenal, I will probably be taking either. I think I'll probably take a -8 in 28 to get a couple of Chelsea defenders in.
A couple in. Bloody hell.
Well, the way I've looked at it is because City have United in 28, I think, and
yep.
I mean, again, this could be where my season falls over, but I think if Chelsea have a double of, what's the other game? It would be Norwich and is it Burnley?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an unbelievable double for a defence. And Reece James being as attacking as he is, if he's back in. I mean, there's a lot of ifs and buts, but I actually really like the idea of switching my City defenders for the Chelsea defenders because Chelsea's run is absolutely insane at that point. And if they had the Norwich double, whereas again, I guess it seems like a small difference, but if it's Arsenal instead of Norwich, that is quite a big difference for me when I'm thinking about taking out players like Cancelo and Laporte.
Yeah, but if you're so strong on getting two, then surely that would just mean going one, or are you thinking one of your successes has been doubling up with defenders and, when they've got a good run?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It could just be Laporte because I do think, especially as they've lost that game now and conceded 3 goals, that there's a chance that he starts to mix up a bit in the defence.
I can't remember who was saying, but I think they were talking about maybe Diaz going out, which seems a bit mad seeing as he's been the mainstay and him being maybe a bit of a scapegoat.
Was it Luke when he was on
the Wire extra time? Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and he was saying that he thought Diaz looked really ropey.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Laporte looked ropey as well. So
Planet FPL James was saying he's also seen Kane do that to him numerous times, so he could also get the hook. It's interesting, isn't it? Could be any one of them. That's pretty mad what Luke's been doing. I like that Wire thing he did, and just sort of saying, did you listen to it all? Like saying he's sort of set himself a target to try and predict Pep, predict the unpredictable, and he's getting 9.5 out of 10 right every week. It's pretty cool.
He's an interesting guy, Luke. He's in a way quite eccentric, but he likes to do his own thing, and he just finds. I feel like he gets bored quite quickly, so he's just like, right, I'm just going to do this. But then when he wants to, he's kind of like laser focused on something. But yeah, it is cool that he's doing that.
Yeah, it's pretty niche.
His record's amazing on it, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So we're at 45 minutes. I think just some quick thoughts maybe on this. It might be all that I need, but that's my team at the moment. I did Edouard to Weghorst last night. Didn't get a price change, but I think Weghorst has been pretty transferred in again today.
Yeah,
So I'm
he's
expecting
definitely he'll
that
definitely go up. He'll
I think
definitely
so.
go up before the deadline. Yeah.
I was really umming and ahhing whether to do it, but yeah, got into bed 10:30, sat there thinking about it for a bit, and I was like, no, I need to do it. So got on my
I'm
phone.
guessing it's the same thing as with wildcards, where free hits will count in like the FPL statistics stats for going up or going down, but then at the end of the day they'll knock them all out. But I would think the free hits the transfers for free hits probably do show up, and then they're kind of wiped out at the end of the day when they make the actual changes.
Yeah, it could be. It's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, might be fewer price rises this week compared to others. I made this table which has helped me decide a few things. So it's what to do in 27, 28, 29. So I'm moving the mouse so you can, I guess, see that. And
I can see it, yeah.
in red, what the players I might want to sell in those weeks are, and in black, the options of who I might want to buy. And yeah, it's obviously cropped quite a bit. But this week, I think the only options to sell are Jota or more risky Salah. But then there's oodles of options.
And just not Martinelli because you're just not getting any money. You've got no money to do anything.
Yeah, who would I go to exactly? Because I've got 0.2 in the bank, so I could go to a 5.5. So it's pretty limiting. Ramsey maybe, but I don't think they've got a great fixture this week, have they?
How long's Jota out for? Because I feel like everyone's going to see the red flag on Jota, they see the blank, they'll all get rid of him, and then he could come straight back into the team in 28. They've got the double in 20. They've got the double in 29. Jota could punish everyone who takes him out, couldn't they?
Could do, but then it's Diaz is knocking around. Firmino will be coming back. I think Klopp mentioned them in the same breath and said they're not going to be available for the cup final, but they're not too far away or something.
Who, Firmino and Jota?
Yeah,
they're almost on the same timeline. Wow. Yeah.
So I just think there's 5 players trying to go into that 3-person spot. I'm thinking get rid now and make it easier if I do want to get Robertson. I mean, again, just copying your team basically, that could make that easier.
It is a bit like the whole, the City situation. Could get to that with Liverpool, where you know that Jota could punish you if he plays, but you're just not sure he's going to play. Because before when we were talking about Sterling, I love the idea of having Sterling, but only if I'm really, really confident he's going to play. And you can't ever be that confident with City, especially after they've just lost.
True, but Grealish is out, and well, that's the only sort of left side they've got, isn't it? So I think you can be as confident as you can with City, but I agree, most other times you'd want 2 or 3 in there to spread the risk.
You're going to really talk me into Sterling, because I just can see him getting a hat-trick this weekend.
Right. I mean, in terms of all the stuff that goes into this XG form, I have got them about level pegging with Man U in terms of difficulty, but Tottenham are the best by quite a way. But Southampton are pretty good as well for matchups this week.
Right. Yeah, and actually, if you think about it, if Tottenham's next fixture is Everton at home, I don't know whether Lampard will tactically set them up to sit back. I'm trying to remember if he did that when he was at Chelsea, but I think they were quite counter-attacking, Chelsea, weren't they, under Lampard, but they had kind of the youth team. But, I guess what I'm saying is City have got Everton away this week, but Tottenham's fixture is better this week, and then they've got Everton at home next week. So I think Son probably is, and then they've got the doubles. I think Son is probably the sensible approach, especially as I've got 2 City, albeit defenders. I don't have any Spurs, so it probably is sensible to go Son.
Yeah.
Stop trying to talk me into Sterling there, Shlee, and then he gets benched.
It's one of those though that I feel I'm really biased because I have cursed myself for not getting Son for so long, and now he's got this fixture. I can just imagine him running through. And randomly on my Twitter timeline today, the bloody Son goal versus Burnley when he skins, runs in a pretty straight line past 5 players, comes up, and I can just see that happening to Leeds.
Yeah.
So I am pretty worried. So which of those players there, James or Prowse, would you bring in this week for maybe Jota if I did that route? James or Prowse, Son, a City mid, which would probably have to be just Foden or Bernardo Silva, Gallagher, Tielemans or Ramsey, is what I've roughly thought.
I mean, again, I think the fact that you already have Kane, if you think Son is the best player this week, and even for the next 5, you could bring Son in. It doesn't matter that you've got Kane; it's still an amazing fixture against Leeds. You just treat them as completely separate positions. So I would probably.
It would have to be for Salah, but yeah, that'd be Salah to Son, and then that does make things more tricky next week. But next week I'm probably at least -18. I think I've got so many things I might want to do.
How do you get Salah back then next week?
I would either have to downgrade Kane and move it around, or reverse the transfer.
So I don't like the reverse the transfer. I think that's a waste, because it's basically a -8 in transfers just to swap them. So Son
Agreed.
would have to go bananas.
True.
Although I guess you are comparing him to no points, because you'd have an extra, which is very rare, right? It's usually a bench player or something else, but this is a special week. So, but I don't like the -8. But I think, could you downgrade Kane and then bring Son back in for Jota next week, or bring Salah back in for Jota next week?
Yeah, but I'd have to downgrade Kane next week. But yeah, so yeah. Kane to Jimenez next week is quite good, because Jimenez has got the double.
Wolves have the double, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, because you've got Kane against Leeds. Obviously, if Kane goes nuts against Leeds, it's a little bit like when I had Ronaldo and De Bruyne and I was looking to get Salah in, and I was just seeing, obviously which one went bananas. In the end, De Bruyne did really well, but I got rid of him anyway, just because of the fixtures. But it's a little bit like that choice. So you can kind of see how Kane does against Leeds. If he scores a hat-trick, then maybe you look at a different way of doing it. But maybe there isn't a different way of doing it, though, and that's super annoying.
Well, the other way would be not to bring in Salah next week. I mean, it is at Anfield, but it's West Ham. It's not. I mean, it's blue on the ticker, but that could be quite difficult. So, Everton. The problem is Spurs haven't got a bad fixture next week, so double Spurs against Everton might be okay. But like you say, then I've got the option, but it would have to be at least a -4. Downgrade Kane to Jimenez for his double, and he's got the 30 fixture, which I like. And then I've got so many options next week of it would be, so I wouldn't have Salah actually, so it would be a -8 at least. Kane down to Jimenez, Jota to Salah. I probably need to free up a bit more money. I think I do. I think I remember it. So maybe I need to get a mill or something. I was even looking at De Gea. This will blow your mind a bit because there's so many variables.
Do you want to bring it up on the website? You can just look at the transfers, see what you can afford.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Quite like playing this game. This is a game that I play quite a lot. Who can I afford?
This will take about 22 minutes though to load.
Yeah, true. Are you sharing this screen on the stream yet?
I've just called the slide browser, but I should probably call it Tinker or something. Because it's like it's what Andy does, isn't it? At the end of the stream, gets tinkering.
Yeah.
So basically, the question is, if I did Salah to Son, oh god, this is going to be quite painful.
It is so amazingly slow, isn't it? I think we need to put £1 in the jar every week and buy you a new laptop soon.
It's basically, could I replace all three of those with Jimenez?
Put Dennis in there.
Well, it'll be Salah, no, Son.
It is amazingly slow, isn't it? There you go.
Yeah,
Son's risen quite a lot recently, isn't he?
Is he 10.8?
Yeah, I think he's gone up.
All right, I could afford that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine, isn't it? In fact, it's more than fine.
Yeah, but then I do have a few other issues next week that would put out sort of captaincy fires.
I would, going back to the choice, that is what I would do, because you're doubling up Spurs against Leeds. Leeds are in an absolute state, and they could get absolutely humped again. Spurs need a reaction. It's just Conte's reaction to that loss last night that's putting me off them. But I think if he'd had a more balanced interview and just said, "Look, we're really looking forward to the next game," then I think it's super obvious. But Son and Kane against Leeds, then you have that choice. As we said, you can see what you think of Liverpool versus West Ham. and how afraid you are of Salah going nuts and everybody having him and you not. Or you can have double Spurs against Everton, which is again pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then you can make the switch. I mean, I guess the only thing is, I guess you could maybe just bring in Jimenez. I think you're going to want to do it because I think you're going to want Jimenez for the double anyway. Jimenez is just
next week is quite tricky. He's not very explosive, is he?
No, he's not, and that's the thing. I mean, the only reason I brought him in for Watkins is just because Watkins has been so dire. Villa have been so dire, and I just thought he's got a double. I might as well put him in, but he's got an assist, but then he's got a yellow card. He hasn't done anything really.
Does have Leeds in 30. Again, he's not a midfield runner, but that might be quite interesting. The fixtures are decent. Yeah, true. It's not that exciting, but I think captaincy next week is actually quite tricky. I mean, rate my team's got Jimenez, Sarr, Coutinho in that order. I think Villa's fixtures they're definitely better on the colours here.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. I had in most of my plans, especially after the fixtures were announced, was to get Coutinho in 28. But again, I'm just so concerned. Let's see what Villa do.
Leeds though, it's pretty sweet.
It is, except Southampton have been really good recently, and their stats are amazing. In fact, I think because what I love on Blackbox is when they look at their the XG and the XGC, but against or kind of where they are in their tickers, but what their fixtures have been like. And I think Southampton's defense is really, really good, even though they've had like the second hardest fixtures in the last 5 or something. So
right.
This is the thing, we're so conditioned to see certain teams and think that's an easy fixture, but Southampton is not an easy fixture at the moment for attacks.
Yeah, well, that's why I make my own sometimes, because this does annoy me a little bit. I mean, according to this, Villa, according to attacking rating, I know this is overall, sorry, but Southampton and Leeds, bright blue. Okay, Leeds is bright blue, but Southampton, hopefully my middleish white is a bit more realistic.
Yeah, there you go.
And then just to finish,
you're probably doing a bit too much justice to Leeds there on your ticker as well.
True. And then, so if I did that, just to finish, hopefully this, because this is very helpful, then that, because I'm be booking in a few transfers next week, probably, that means that all my red players next week that I kind of want to get rid of, I couldn't probably. But looking down this list now, I'm maybe not as worried. Nuri, hopefully that's Semedo injury, don't know how serious, but his double start is good.
Yeah,
he might be sticking around, but I probably wouldn't be able to get a Chelsea or another Wolves defender. Maybe I could live with that. I'll be getting rid of Jota, fine, but I wouldn't be getting Rafinha, James Ward-Prowse, Ramsey. The lack of a villain mid does worry me a little bit.
They're not good at the moment though. I wouldn't be worried about them punishing you, but I guess all it takes is one result to try and to kind of turn it around.
Yeah, Bowen. That's a tricky one. I mean, Bowen to Saka or something. I think if they got a double, Arsenal, that'd be a double. I think Bowen to Saka would be worth it.
I think there's a lot of people who would book that transfer in if Villa get that second double.
Yeah. If Arsenal did, sorry.
If Arsenal did, yeah.
Yeah. But it would be quite a few hits. So it'd be a -4 this week and at least a -8. Yeah. And if I did that, though, would I captain Son? I mean, it sounds crazy having thought I'm so convinced that he's my main worry not to captain him, but it is more fun captain a doubler, isn't it? Even if it is a lesser known Dutch striker at Burnley.
Yeah, I wish you'd got another return against Spurs. Obviously I do, but you don't want to think, because I think somebody was saying his expected goals in that Brighton game was super low.
Yeah.
His finish was brilliant, but it is a bit concerning that maybe that goal was just a bit of a flash in the pan. And if he blanks against Crystal Palace and Leicester, then we all look like fools, and Son gets 10 against Leeds. I don't know. It's so difficult. I think it is just as we discussed earlier, the double and Burnley in a much better moment. But yeah, it's very, very difficult to know what to do. But I think again, I don't like the idea of a -8, but I did a -8 this week because there were doubles and it paid off pretty well for me. So it just shows, I mean, when Ben Mee gets like 21 points in a game week, it shows that anything is possible with doubles. And so in 28, it might be worth it again.
Have you thought about 28 bench boost at all?
I've looked at the bench boost, I think in 28 and 29, and there are still some pretty serious problems with my bench boost. But I think in 20, isn't it 28 where? Yeah, it's in 28 where Liverpool have West Ham.
Yeah,
and so
City have got Man U, so it'd be you. I'm just looking at who you would bench. You probably mentioned Foster, but he's got a double, I think. Oh no, well you might have benched De Gea then at City. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of making a keeper transfer in 28. So
Okay.
I don't really like either of their because I don't think Watford. I think Watford has the double in 29, doesn't it?
No, Arsenal Wolves 28.
28. Okay. Maybe,
So
yeah. Maybe.
so I was actually thinking of getting maybe Foster in for De Gea in 28 and bench boosting.
Oh, really?
Well, put another way, when are you before I said that still thinking 36 bench boost or just sometime in the
No,
future?
I mean 36 is so far away. I have been hoping to get the bench boost out of the way before 30, and I had. You're right. I had looked at getting De Gea out for another doubling keeper, either Sarr or do Arsenal double again in 28?
Not at the moment, but if Chelsea Arsenal comes in,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. So it could be Sarr or Ramsdale for De Gea, and then that would make me want a bench boost. But I think players like Bowen having Liverpool, and I can't remember. I think there's a couple of other players in my team who have pretty terrible fixtures that would probably be on the bench boost, and it doesn't look amazing. Other than having Foster doubling,
Yeah, true.
Doesn't look like the best bench boost, to be honest.
But then what does a good bench boost look like? I mean, Focal had a 50-pointer and it didn't look well. Okay, he had probably had two. I think if he got two doublers on the bench, then is that not enough?
He had three doublers on his bench, didn't he? He had all three Burnley. He had Pope and then Veghorst and me. So if I had three doublers on my bench, even if they were from poor teams that had poor fixtures, I probably would do it.
Agreed.
But mine would be Foster doubling and then three single game week players with not great doubles, or I'd tear my team apart and take a -12 and improve it. But again, I just think that it's too much of a risk.
Too much of a. I mean, you would be bringing in doublers though, probably. Too much of a risk that the -12.
I would, but it's just
paying back from the bench boost.
That's the thing. I mean, it would pay. I reckon it would pay back the bench boost, but it means that instead of your bench boost being worth 25 points, it's suddenly worth 13 points. So
yeah, fair.
That's the issue with that. But yeah, I'll have another look at it. But I just think.
I just had a quick look on Rate My Team and looked at what my three bench players were scoring between now and 29, and 28 was by far the best. Actually, I think up to 33 or something. Just really? A rough thing, and they were all, I think, more than 3 points, which, yeah, so it's only a 12-pointer. So yeah, it's not doubling.
No.
Something to. I probably won't decide yet, but it's something on my mind. Something to not. Yeah, but I think a weak one like Bowen away, Liverpool, yeah, you could carry one of those, but you're right. City, Man U double fixture makes it a bit tricky.
I mean, I don't mind that. I mean, if I still have the two City defenders against United, if I haven't, moved one to a Chelsea defender, I mean, it's City can keep a clean sheet in any game because they just have so much of the possession. So I wouldn't hate that. If my bench was two City players, I probably would pull it with Foster as the doubler as well. But I'm already going to be taking a -4 to swap De Gea for somebody. And I think I've got obviously a Chelsea defender in. Maybe that's another one. And I can't remember. I think there's another move I want to make in 28 as well. Can't remember what it is. I guess get Salah back would be, if I don't, then I'll be scared of what he does to West Ham because I just think Salah is unbelievable at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your one this week? João Pedro to someone? Oh, Broja.
So either João Pedro to Broja or the thing that I am leaning towards, which is Salah to Son, and probably vice captain Son.
And just first bench João Pedro.
Yeah, exactly. And just bench João Pedro and just hope everybody else plays, because that's the scary thing this week is that no one's going to have a bench except for free hitters.
Yeah. And that sanity check that we probably didn't do a few weeks ago when we actually needed our bench, and I think you only ended up with 10. Is there any threat of that? I mean, if Laporte is rested, are you not thinking of taking a -4 to cover that maybe? I suppose it would be
I guess I could always just do João Pedro to Broja anyway, even for a -4. I think maybe I should do that because João Pedro he needs fixing anyway. If I'm going to be taking hits in other weeks, because you think about it. I think a sensible way to look at it is that any transfer always costs 4 points, because in any other week, you could roll it and have 2.
Yeah.
Or in any other week, if you're going to make one other transfer, then making that transfer is going to cost you 4 anyway. So, and I can see myself definitely making at least one transfer for the next however many weeks. So maybe I should just take the -4 this week to do João Pedro to Bro. I guess the issue is that, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that it probably is the sensible thing to do, because obviously if anyone doesn't play, I would then at least get Broja off the bench. And maybe I haven't really looked at it that closely, but maybe Broja gets in ahead of. I don't think he does he? Who've Crystal Palace got? Tyne, is it Burnley?
Maybe Ramsey. I don't know. Looks a bit of a weak one there. I think it's Brighton's defence is gone, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is the thing. Ramsey can be pretty explosive, can't he? But I think has Southampton got Norwich?
Yeah, that's St Mary's, so it's a pretty good fixture.
So I think it probably is. I think I probably should do that. Take the -4, João Pedro to Broja, bench Ramsey, and then bring Son in for Salah. I think that is probably what I'll do.
I'm pretty worried there that I think I've convinced you. Well, not convinced you on 3 things, but mentioned 3 things that are in your head a bit now. Bench boost 28, that -4, and Sterling. You could do any one of those things.
I don't think I'm going to take the risk on Sterling. I'd love to, and I'm sure if he plays, he'll do well. But I just, because you think about it, he came off against Spurs. You say they've got no left side, but who came on for him? I didn't see who came on for him in the Spurs game, but somebody must have come on and played left side, and they equalised when Sterling was off the pitch.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you know who it was who came on for Sterling?
No. Find out quicker on my phone. I can have a quick look. Okay. So if you bought in Son, would you captain him or keep Weghorst?
No, I think I'm going to leave it on. I think I'm going to leave it on Weghorst. I'm going to channel how I felt when I was out for a run on Saturday. Was it Saturday morning when Weghorst got his Sunday morning, maybe when Weghorst got his goal? I think so. I'm going to channel how I felt when I saw Weghorst scoring, and I'm going to captain him.
Sterling came off for Mahrez. Did Mahrez not start?
We're so knowledgeable.
I've gone to the app here. Oh yeah, Bernardo Silva was false 9, which I remember Luke saying. Foden was on the left. This is from the start, and Sterling was on the right.
Okay.
And Sterling straight swap for Mahrez. So
well, there you go. I mean, the fact that they were all in the positions we have not been talking about them in, I think proves that it's too much of a risk, because they can all interchange. I mean, Bernardo Silva could play right, couldn't he? And then
true. But the only way then that you're making sense of the fact 3 hitters are getting 2 attackers in is because, or midfielders, that's the obvious risk to take. They're going to have a bench to cover it. It's a no-brainer.
Well, it is and it's not. I mean, I think there's the potential that 3 hitters are. There are going to be some really disappointed 3 hitters because they went for the wrong city mids.
Could be. Well, FPL Focal was interesting. He has got 10 players and he is rolling this week, he said. Did you see that? Yeah.
I did, but I did also listen to him when he wildcarded. I listened to his wildcard video and he was talking about 27 and saying that because he's got 3 Burnley, he has 10, but he's got 14 fixtures or whatever it is, 13 fixtures. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, his 10 is so strong. But then also, next week he might have like 8 doublers or something and he'd be ripping that up if he did something this week, which is not quite my position. But it is interesting that I'm pretty focused on what I've got 4 non-playing players. I'm pretty tempted to take a hit to swap it, but maybe that's not right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, Focal's going to be absolutely gutted that he didn't bank a bit more on the Burnley double this week. But that's the issue with wildcarding, because he will have looked at it objectively without the benefit of hindsight and saw, seen his kind of, I think, will he have had 11 doublers in the team? He must have done, and thought they've got better fixtures. I mean, that the Arsenal double looked amazing, and yet they didn't really do too much, did they? Especially Ramsdale. I mean, what a disappointment for Ramsdale owners.
Yeah, it's true.
And he had Pope on the bench with another
12 or something crazy, yeah. 13, I think it was.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this has been very helpful though, because I don't think I was going to consider taking a hit, but I think I should do João Pedro out. He's a waste in my team at the moment. So,
But if you didn't do that and just did Salah to Son, I mean, is he well, orange flag? Is he not going to play? Do we think he's not first choice, right? But he might come on, so that 1 point might be useful.
in fact, you know what? Again, super useful that you've checked me on that, because I think didn't what's his name?
Dennis have a knock.
No, I think Dennis played, but it was
Oh, King came off, didn't he?
King came off, didn't he? With an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe João Pedro, but again, João Pedro might not be fit. Thing is, I think even if he plays, I mean, he's not going to do anything. I had him for a double earlier. He didn't do anything in those games. Don't think he's an amazingly viable option. I think Broja is a very good player, and they've got great fixtures, including Norwich. So I think, João Pedro, even if he plays, he's playing Man United. I don't expect him to do anything.
What is he, 5.3-ish, João Pedro?
I think he's either the same or he's slightly cheaper now because his price, I think, dropped maybe. Or Broja, I think Broja rose.
Should probably just check it on FPL Team though, just for FPL.team. Sorry, who made that mistake earlier? Trying to shout out the right people. But 5.3, that's a good third bench spot, isn't it? If you go to 5.8, you might have benching headaches ahead.
Well, no, Broja's 5.4, I think, max. So.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So that's why, I mean, Broja just makes sense as that option. It gives you a benching headache because he is actually good, but. Like him and Ramsey would be annoying because I could end up picking the wrong one each week to play, maybe.
Okay.
We shall see.
Right. I think we've covered everything. Yeah, I've got some other slides that I think when Ali's around we'll have a bit more of a general chat about some bits. But is there anything else you want to chat about, Nick?
No, I don't think so. Just again to say, get well soon, Al, and hopefully we will have you on next week. I'm looking forward to seeing what your facial hair is like at the moment.
Interesting. For people that don't know Al, that's probably a bit scary. But yeah. Okay, thanks, Nick. Have a good game week. Speak soon, mate.
You too, sir. All right, speak soon. Bye.
Bye.